What do most people not know their phones can do? Tap and hold the spacebar to move your text cursor tool back and forth with precision. Every time I do it in front of someone, they've been like, wait, do that again, and they act like I just made their lives way better. Neat. This is 1000% easier than tapping and holding a finger down on the actual text message. To move the cursor around, appreciate the info. Thanks. Well, now I have to test it too, and this is awesome. Now the real trick will be remembering between now and my next text message. You can use the Translate app with your camera to translate printed text in real time. Did this when we got to a train station in Latvia and it was empty with a sign up. We were connecting there and thought we were screwed. Translated the sign and it just said the station is not closed, just unmanned. Wait on the platform for the train to arrive and tell the conductor where you're going. Without that function, I would have just been lost completely. I probably would have waited, frozen in panic, until the next train came up. Hopefully some English is spoken. When headphones are not available, the speaker does not have to be used, and in general the volume can be turned down. But then how will the rest of the airplane know what I'm listening to? Do you really need to hear Rebecca Black's Friday for the 17th time? Yes, how else people would know I have exquisite taste in music? Many phones have built-in document scanning features that allow users to scan and save documents as PDFs using the device's camera. At work, we scan documents for $2 a page. Most people do not need a super high-quality scan, just something legible. The perspective and contrast algorithms that phones apply in scanning mode are phenomenal anyway. I often wonder why all these people walking around with scanners in their pocket check out so much money for me to do it, and how long this game will last before they catch on. But as you've said, most people don't know. Most people don't even think about taking a regular photo of their document. Like, they're holding a paper and their phone at the same time thinking, how do I get an image of this onto this? I need a professional. My boss once told me I cannot upload my expense reports via photos from my phone. I must use a scanner. I still use my phone, but now I tell her it's the scanner. I'd imagine that's more a security thing. If you save sensitive docs on your phone and it gets stolen, that's a lot harder to fix than just disabling your login so the thief can't log into your network. Thing is though, the vast majority of business-class scanners store images to an internal hard drive and then never delete them. For a while, identity thieves were buying up surplus scanner copiers from hospital chains and scraping the data. Metal detection. About 5 years ago, a coworker and I knew a hallway in our building had a pipe cleanout that we needed to access, buried under the concrete floor. We didn't know where exactly. He downloaded a metal detector app. It flagged a spot. We dug, and it was right there. Just downloaded one, and it's measuring microteslas, so it only works for ferromagnetic materials. A real metal detector is not so limited. Haha. It freaks out when I put my phone next to my computer. I think it thinks the magnetic field is going to damage the phone. Still handy for a lot of improvised construction tasks though. Finding iron pipes, studs, nails, etc. My first thought is stud finder. Thanks. Can confirm it works. I pointed the phone at me and the screen said, stud found. I remember one of the first iPhones after the App Store opened, 3G maybe, had an app that looked like a mug of beer, and when you tilted it, it looked like you were drinking it. Lol, we thought it was the most advanced thing. This reminds me of the Zippo app on the old iPhones. I remember I had a lightsaber app like that on my iPod Touch. Lol. I had a whip app on mine. I was training new employees and would use it jokingly when break time was over. Get back to work. Snap. I had to stop when we got our first black employee. It didn't seem like it would be, right? Repeatedly clicking the side button like 8 times or sometimes dials 911. Didn't know that until I did it. I had a Google Pixel 4a 5 grams and it had some software issue. I tried everything to fix it but couldn't. It would do the side button 911 trick even when I didn't touch it. I tried resetting it and it would immediately call. I ended up having to buy a new phone. 911 operator here. This recent Android update and iPhones having always done this has actually become a huge issue for 911 call centers. Just think of every summer weekend every cell phone that gets jammed into a boat camp chair car cup holder dialing 911 and clogging up the lines. The cell companies aren't changing the updates. It's a really terrible issue that was solely an iPhone problem up until this year and is getting worse with every smartwatch that has some kind of built-in crash detection. 99% of the time there isn't a crash. Well, I had the unfortunate luck to use the crash detection on my watch on Friday. It worked. And I was able to get the police on the scene, but I've heard there are a lot of false positives. Are you okay? In the Photos app, you can search a phrase like cat or green car or certain texts or anything, really, and it will bring up every photo related. It's not perfect, but it saved me tons of time searching for old photos. I've showed this to dozens of people, and nobody has ever said I already knew that lol. Hope I can help someone else. Had a kid a couple years ago and now can't find any specific photos from during that time. Cost there's like 1 million of her. I needed my passport info without getting off my A. Searched passport and it brought up a picture I took of my passport I had taken at some point in the past few years. If you take a picture of a flower, you can hold it down and click info, and it will search up what it is. Similarly, if you snap a photo of a bug and go to add a caption, the option to look that bug comes up. Also applies to some animals. They're working on scat identifying too. Find some strange poop. Just take a pic and see what beast is crapping in the forest. On an iPhone, if you hold the flashlight button, it gives you a dimmer. You can also tell Siri Lumos to turn it on and Knox to turn it off. I freaking love you. I have terrible vision, and getting up to pee becomes fumbling for my glasses, tripping over the dog toys or the dog, and trying to activate the flashlight on my phone without waking my husband, lumps, Knox. Problem solved. Lumos with an O. Guess they lost their glasses again. To check if your TV remote is working, point it at your phone camera. The phone will pick up the flash and it'll be visible on screen, lifesaver working in AV. Just a reminder for anyone reading, you also need to press a button on the remote while pointed at the camera. And this is why IT has to ask you if your computer is plugged in and turned on lol. Most phones today are actually able to have the sound turned off of videos in public spaces. They also have headphones so you can listen to your music without other people having to hear it. It also works with phone calls. With an iPhone to an iPhone text pew pew without the quotes, and it does lasers to that person in the text. You can text this to yourself if you want to see the effect without making a friend wonder why you did that. While scrolling Reddit at 2:00 a.m. It makes noise too. Turn on your volume. If you feel like your brightness is still too high, you can actually reduce the white point further in settings. I have a shortcut set up for this. Double tap the Apple logo to turn it on. Triple tap to turn it off. Printed document to get a PDF. I help people with this so much in my job where people need to send me documents. Often they're expecting to see a save or save as PDF option, and that may just not be there. They're surprised when you suggest trying print without access to a printer, and pleased when they see that it works. Works for computers too. Hit print, then there is a print to PDF option somewhere. Worked on Mac and Windows. This is how I save the receipts when I pay my bills. I select PDF as the printing device, then print the page to file in a folder specifically labeled receipts. This is hugely handy at times, and it's much easier to locate a file than to search return emails or dig through an actual hard copy paper file. Having roommates. It's easier to split the bills and send everybody a copy of the bill along with their allocated portion that's due. Hold down a part of a photo you want to isolate and it will remove the background. And through trying this, I've now discovered that text can be copied and pasted directly from any photo. My mind is thoroughly boggled. My ghast has been flabbered. Make phone calls. Deleted. You can turn the keyboard clicks OFF. Had to do this with my dad's phone. Anytime he was writing a text, it was like sitting next to Ernest Hemingway. Yours sincerely, Captain Holt. On Android, you can do split screen between two apps at once. I like to surf Reddit and watch YouTube at the same time. If you watch Twitch streams and press the home button, it will shrink the video to a small screen. You can move the screen about and double tap to increase its size. Double tap again to shrink it. So you can browse Reddit at the same time, for e.g. can't do this on YouTube. Unless you use a VPN and set to the United States. Then it will function the same. This is in Android. Proton VPN is free from the App Store. You can do it on YouTube. Certain vids don't have picture-in-picture viewing enabled, but a good majority of them do. YouTube Advanced lets you do it with any video, plus audio in the background, no ads. Auto skips sponsor segments, brings the dislike button back, and some other stuff. Destroy your alibi. Alternatively, strengthen your alibi if you leave your phone at home or with a trusted accomplice while doing activities. Your phone being at home static, or being significantly outside of your normal routine during a crime of which you are a suspect, would actually likely strengthen the prosecution's case. Not weaken it, just don't do crime. If anyone cares enough to catch you, they will. Or just never form a routine, be erratic all the time in case one day you might want to do crime. Never let me guess your next step. Plot twist, I took no next step. I started to crawl. Erratic. Be used as a weapon. I'm serious. Once I was about 15 and a guy came over to me and put his arms on each side of me. He was a lot older than me, and I remember him saying I needed to be quiet. He then said something I don't feel comfortable sharing online. But before he could do anything, I took the corner of my phone and smashed it into his collarbone. I was nowhere near strong, but it made him fall back, and I had enough time to run and get help. Use your phone as a weapon, especially Motorola. Those things are sturdy. Edit. This comment has gotten to so many people. I'm glad more people can be safer, and I got my first award. Super cool. Makes note Nokia nunchucks. Got it? Easy there, Satan. WMDs are against the Geneva Convention. You can backspace on the calculator by swiping to the left or right. You can also turn your phone sideways while in the calculator app and get a scientific calculator. iPhone unconfirmed for Android. Android users can do scientific calculations in our heads. You can add shortcuts on your iPhone that are triggered by double or triple tapping the back of your phone. Settings, accessibility, touch back tap. Copy text out of images. I love this for recipe photos and subs like rolled recipes where I am on my phone using Paprika, and I can save the whole thing with a few taps and drags. How do you do this? On Samsung, if you have access to the Edge panel, you can use Smart Select to quickly select a rectangle around the text on your screen. Then from there, you can extract the text. On Android, you can torrent directly onto it, then cast the file onto most smart TVs. Why torrent when you can pay for 30 different subscriptions that together give you access to about half of what you can find when you torrent? If you set your phone aside and don't use it while driving, the text sent to it will still be there waiting for you to reply to when you've arrived at your destination. Big if true. Some people complain that they miss the time when you could just leave the house and be unreachable. They seem to not know that you can just turn your phone off or even leave it behind. I think what they mean is they miss a time when being constantly reachable wasn't expected. Becoming an adult is largely about realizing that social expectations are not the law. You can just ignore them, no one's going to stop you. You can ignore most social expectations, there are some that some people will violently enforce. Text me back. I need your number first, babe. You can use your phone as a level and tape measure. Note: the level isn't that useful if your phone has pointless buttons on both sides typically added for camera, voice commands, etc. Also not as effective as an actual level in my experience, helpful in a pinch, but it can be inaccurate. I have my iPhone set so that when it disconnects from my car's Bluetooth, it remembers that location in Apple Maps as parked location when I'm going back to the car. I just search for parked location in Maps and it takes me directly to where the car is. Google Assistant has such a feature. Ultra dark mode on iPhone. I don't endorse anyone using their phone in a movie theater, but this way is infinitely more discreet. I typically use it when putting my baby to sleep and I want to scroll Reddit without keeping the kid awake. Settings: accessibility, display, and text size. Turn on reduce white point and set it to 100%. Next, you can set a shortcut like this. Settings: accessibility shortcut. Select reduce white point. Now you can swap between normal display and ultra dark mode by triple pressing the power button. You're welcome. Edit. Spelling. I learned the difference between the words discreet and discreet. I didn't even know how to do this, so I tried and mine was already on and at 80%. I don't know how that happened. No wonder I can't hardly see my screen when it's bright outside. Thanks. Your Samsung S series can wirelessly charge other devices. I just tried this with a very confused spouse, so cool. There have been a few times their phone is close to dying, and this would have been helpful for a couple percent until we get to a charger. On Apple phones, the Apple logo on the back is a button. In setting, you can make it so it can do things like turn on and off your flashlight, lock your phone, and more. Wait, what? I think it's in accessibility. Correct. It's not a button in the conventional sense, but allows you to control some handy functions with a double tap to the back glass. In any app with a map, Apple Maps, Google Maps, Lyft, Yelp, etc., if you double tap and hold on the second tap, you can zoom in and out of the map by moving your thumb up and down. Really great if you're one-handing a phone when your other hand is preoccupied with a watermelon. And her baby? Upvoting for the parents and her watermelon delivery people. Most people are unaware that their phones can act as remote controls for various devices and appliances. I've lost so many Fire Stick remotes due to having children and the remotes being small. I just use my phone for all of my TVs now.